Welcome back to the ACB Wrestling Talk channel, your main source for wrestling news and wrestling discussions. I'm, of course, your host, Alexis Carrillo, and let's get into some wrestling talk. Now, of course, this Sunday, WWE brings to its fans and to the wrestling world the biggest party of the summer, taking place this Sunday from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. We get another edition of SummerSlam, and this is your SummerSlam preview. Now, at the moment of this recording, 10 matches, that's right, 10 matches have been officially announced for the event. Possibly more could come, being that the big dog, the current face of the company, does not have an announced match for SummerSlam. But right now, we're just gonna preview and predict the 10 matches that have been announced, and if WWE, as we get closer to SummerSlam, gets to announcing more matches, well, that's on them. You know, that's on them. We'll just have to deal with these 10 matches. So let's get right to it. One of the biggest matches, one of the matches that I'm most excited about, is the one where current WWE Champion Kofi Kingston defends against a long-time rival, of course, the Viper, Randy Orton. And they've got a lot of history, to put it lightly, being that back in 2009, I was just a kid watching Raw, and I was cheering on Kofi Kingston when he did that boom drop on Randy Orton at Madison Square Garden. Kofi Kingston was hot back in late 2009. He seemed poised to be the next breakout star of the WWE, and then he wasn't. Well, in early 2010, rumors started to swirl around about how Randy Orton had, quote-unquote, complained and advised WWE officials that Kofi Kingston wasn't quite ready for the main event scene, so Kofi Kingston was apparently pushed back down the card into the mid-card scene, and where he won a lot of US and Intercontinental titles. Well, fast forward almost 10 years later, now Kofi Kingston is a WWE champion. He's been the champion since WrestleMania, and now Randy Orton is the challenger. So who comes out on top? Who comes out the winner of this match? Who comes out with the most prestigious World Wrestling title in wrestling today? Now, I'm going to throw you a curveball, because I think that Randy Orton should walk out WWE champion. Why have I chosen Randy Orton? Well, it's pretty damn simple. After Kofi Kingston's victory over Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania, I always thought that he was a sympathetic babyface, a pretty one-dimensional, run-of-the-mill, defense after defense fighting champion. That's how I viewed him over the past 5 months. And thus, I did not believe that if Kofi Kingston were to lose that title, he would be able to get it back. I don't think his character would be in a position to get that title back. But because this rivalry involves Randy Orton, I think Randy Orton can be Kofi Kingston's defining rival to get Kofi Kingston finally to establish himself in that main event scene. And so, if anyone is going to establish Kofi Kingston in the main event scene, it's going to be Randy Orton. So I'm going with the Viper coming out as WWE Champion. Moving on to the next match, one match that will most likely be on the pre-show. It'll most likely be on the kickoff. This match for the Cruiserweight title, where champion Drew Gulak defends against Oney Lorcan. Now, I don't watch 205 Live, as I've told you in previous videos. I'm far behind on Raw, SmackDown, and Impact, and NXT. Don't mention it. I just haven't been able to catch up, and I don't think I'm ever going to watch 205 Live. It's not my type of show. So I'm going to get to my prediction. I've always been a fan of Drew Gulak, and he's going to retain this Sunday at SummerSlam. Moving on to the US title match, where AJ Styles, the phenomenal one, the leader of the OC Club, defends his United States Championship against the one and only Ricochet. And I'm also going to keep it pretty sweet, simple, and to the point with this. I think AJ Styles retains. The OC members are all dripped in gold. The former club members, former Good Brothers, whatever you want to call them, Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson recently won the Raw Tag Team Championships, and I think you should really keep that stable strong, and AJ Styles got to come out with that win. Of course, with Ricochet, Styles versus Ricochet, they're always going to deliver a great match, so even in a losing effort, Ricochet comes out looking like a star. AJ Styles walks out still United States Champion. Now let's move on to the women's division, where Bayley, SmackDown Live Women's Champion, defends against Ember Moon. This seems to be a pretty run-of-the-mill championship match. Pretty, in my opinion, pretty predictable. I don't think they're going to pull the trigger on Ember Moon becoming champion out of nowhere because her character isn't quite there yet. They haven't built her up enough to be bought as the top of the women's division on SmackDown Live. So obviously, I have the Hugger retaining the SmackDown Live Women's Championship. Now moving on to the Raw side of things. Becky Lynch, the man, defends against Natalya in a submission match. Now, they're both very famous for their submissions, for their submission maneuvers. Natalya with the sharpshooter, Becky Lynch with the disarm her. But who is better? Who comes out on top? Take into account this is in Canada, where Natalya has home country advantage. So, if you were to follow previous history of wrestlers performing in their hometowns or in their home countries, then it's a pretty damn sure bet that Natalya will not walk out of SummerSlam as your new Raw Women's Champion. Becky Lynch retains. And hopefully, we can build up to a WrestleMania rematch between Becky Lynch and Ronda Rousey. Now, I'm going to move on to Kevin Owens versus Shane McMahon. Now, it's no secret, I'm not a fan of Shane McMahon being not only a predominant figure on WWE television, but the fact that he actually performs in matches, the fact that he is actually put in a position where he beats full-time superstars, I don't like that. And with the stipulation here that if Owens loses, he has to leave, he has to quit the WWE, I just think Kevin Owens comes out with the victory. Then again, if he doesn't come out with the victory, if he comes out in a losing effort, it wouldn't be the first time we see that Kevin Owens or any other superstar who's been fired or who's quit previously, even Kevin Owens himself, would return no fuss, no muss. So really, I really don't know about this match. So I'm just going to throw it out there. Kevin Owens comes out the winner just because I don't like the Shane McMahon wrestling character. Finn Balor versus The Fiend, Bray Wyatt. Now, in a previous video, I have given you all the details on how I love Bray Wyatt's evolution from the Eater of Worlds into The Fiend. How he's not quite there in his mind. How he's evolved. How it seems to be that he now has a duality to his character. Now it's Bray Wyatt and The Fiend. And because of that, I just don't think Finn Balor comes out on top. First of all, at Extreme Rules, he lost the Intercontinental Championship to a Shinsuke Nakamura, who is a top wrestler, but who hadn't been in any major storyline since months ago. He lost, and he did it in the kickoff show. So I think Bray Wyatt, The Fiend, comes out with the victory this Sunday at SummerSlam. Moving into two big matches with two big returning legends to the ring. And, regardless of who they are, I don't like legends returning and taking the spot of a full-time superstar who could put on a much better match in ring-wise than these legends returning. Okay? Doesn't matter how legendary Goldberg is. Doesn't matter how legendary Trish Stratus is. Doesn't matter how much of a dream match Stratus versus Charlotte Flair is. I don't like it. So, Stratus versus Flair, Flair's got to go over. I'm sorry, Stratus, you had your time. Years ago, you were retired, you're a Hall of Famer. We got to put over the current superstars of today. Charlotte Flair comes out with the victory. And hopefully leads to a feud between Bayley and Charlotte Flair over that SmackDown Live Women's Championship. And on the other match, Goldberg versus Ziggler, I've said it before, I think WWE isn't ballsy enough to give Ziggler the win over Goldberg, so Goldberg comes out the victor, even though I believe Ziggler should come out with the victory and move into the main event scene. Because that's what WWE should be doing, putting up current reigning superstars who are in their prime. So, with that said, what is more there to add to that? And finally, the match that I think is going to main event this show. The match that I think, and I hopefully desire, that it'll steal the show. Seth Rollins gets his rematch. He challenges Brock Lesnar for a Universal Championship. The Beast Slayer versus the Beast Incarnate. You can't have it any better than that. I'm not a fan of part-time superstars. I'm even less of a fan of part-time champions. So I gotta go with Rollins getting the victory. But you never know with WWE. You just never know. But if the Beast Slayer were to once again, once and for all, slay the Beast, put Brock Lesnar down in a slobber knocker of a match, I think Seth Rollins could become one of those top guys. Finally, one of the top guys of this era in WWE. But hey, those are my predictions for this Sunday's SummerSlam pay-per-view event on the WWE Network. Of course, I'll be watching. I'll be paying close attention to see who comes out with the victory, who comes out with the titles. I'm sure it's going to be one hell of a show. So what are your thoughts? What are your predictions? Leave them on the comment section below. And if you like this video, hit the like button. If you dislike this video, hit the dislike button. That's it for me. Till next time.